Welcome to the Altitude Show. I'm your host, Dave Brinker. I hope you guys are all having a great day. The Altitude Show is presented by Mountain Tough Fitness. If you haven't downloaded the app and gotten your life together, your fitness life, that is, you are missing the boat. Guys, specifically, okay, listen to me for a second. As you get older, you struggle with the dad bod like I did. I get it. Beer, chips, sports, wintertime. Hunting season was like almost a year ago. You've lost it, okay? It's time to get your act together. We got about 14 weeks until most of the seasons hit the West. That's not a lot of time to get your body back intact. Mountain Tough is the perfect way to do that. I highly recommend doing their Backcountry 2.0 program that they just launched a couple weeks ago. To start that out, you do the standard fitness test. You can see if you can beat my time. It took me 1 hour and 5 minutes, which is not a great time, by the way. It's fairly difficult, but it kind of shows you where you are. And then once you complete the Backcountry 2.0 program in 16 weeks, you can see how much you've improved. But seriously, guys, it has changed my life. I've never been in better shape. Again, go to Mountain Tough on the App Store or mountaintough.com/Dave and use my code Dave to get 10% off on your subscription. All right. So we had Phil Kornachuk on the podcast this week. Phil is a former Army Ranger, Green Beret, Special Forces, with 12 deployments all across the world. The guy has seen a lot of stuff. Really interesting to talk to. Not only that, he has 8 kids. It's a fellow Oregonian. And he now runs what's Stonewater Training, which is teaching people leadership skills via the outdoors, which is pretty cool. We had a good conversation, and I hope you guys have all had a chance to listen to it. If not, here's a few takeaways of mine from the show. One of the things I wanted to talk to him about, and I've always been fascinated with this, with especially special force people, but all military people, you're putting your life at risk for a higher cause, right? And I've always wanted to talk to somebody like Phil about facing fear. Like when you get in a helicopter to go on some special operation, and we talked about specifically the operation to save Jessica Lynch in Iraq, which he was involved with. Jessica Lynch, I think, was one of the first American troops captured in Iraq, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I wanted to ask him about like getting on that helicopter or going out on that mission. Like, are you worried about death? Like that would be the first thing I'd be thinking about. Like if I got a family back home, am I gonna die today? I might die today for this cause that has nothing to do with me personally, maybe, but it's for this higher cause. Anyways, because I've never had bullets whizzing by my head, but I feel like I fear all kinds of things. But like, what bigger thing is there to fear than death or God, right? So kind of one of my takeaways was there are thousands of people right now putting their lives on the line. And us spoiled brats here back at home, we fear all these stupid things like just that don't matter really. Maybe it's something small at work. We fear talking to our coworker about something that's bugging us. We fear having a hard discussion with our wife. We fear starting that business we've always wanted to start. We fear this, that, or the other thing. And some of those are valid fears, I guess, but if you think about it, there's people like with bullets whizzing by their heads, so you could have the freedom to actually like attack life and take on these fears that most likely aren't super rational in the grand scheme of things. Like it's pretty crazy to think about. And what he said was, yeah, he thought about death, but when you're in that situation, you have to leave behind that and go do the job. Otherwise, you actually have a higher risk of dying, meaning you have to focus on getting the job done and for that higher purpose. And if I die today, then so be it. But I'm going to go get my job done. And that's a level of bravery I have never had to have. And that is admirable. The second takeaway that I had was, and one of the things he talked about is when he went into the Army, he had to fill out something called like a death plan or a death certificate or something like this, right? Where you have to tell them, if you die, who do you want to, do all these sorts of things for you. Like, what's your plan? So they don't got to try to figure out a bunch of stuff if you die. And he talked about planning your funeral, because one of his takeaways, if you actually are forced to think about what your death looks like, what your funeral looks like, you'll also be forced to think about what you want people to say about you, which forces you then to think about how you want to live your life. Because if you have to think about what you want people to say about you, for instance, you want your kids to say, I loved him so much, he was always there for me, he was honest and he worked hard and he was brave and he fought through challenges. Or do you want them to say, my dad was an alcoholic, he was never there for me, he cheated on my mom, he whatever. Like there's lots of things you definitely don't want people to say about you. You want that room to be full. You want that room to be full of people that appreciate what you offered the world. And even though it's kind of dark to talk about your death and how you want that handled, it kind of can give you some great ammunition to build your plan for your life, right? It's serious shit. If you walk by a gravestone, it very rarely says how much money that person had or how new their truck was or the hot tub they had in the back or how long their travel trailer was and the wheels they had and the celebrities they met or whatever. What it says is husband, wife, father, mother, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather, veteran, things of that nature. So like, it's worth a thought. It's worth a thought. What do you want your funeral to look like? And maybe that'll steer you on how you want to live your life. I know I've been thinking about that a lot. All right. The third thing I was thinking about that he said, and I actually posted a clip of this on my Instagram, was everybody needs to realize you have agency over your life. A lot of people get in the habit of becoming a victim because becoming a victim is a great scapegoat. It's something you can always go back to with little effort, little accountability. You can blame a person, a thing, a circumstance, a problem. But if you actually realize that you do have agency over your life, at least mostly, right? You can actually make changes and actually take accountability for changing your life, making it better. It will require discipline, because and the reason he said that is because some people don't think they're mentally tough. I could never go in the military and be in the special forces or start a business or whatever, reach a high level of a sport or a hobby. I'm just not mentally tough enough. Or how do you get mentally tough? And his point was, genetically speaking, we haven't changed that much since we had to be mentally tough to survive. We had to be mentally tough through the stages of evolution to survive in this world. Otherwise, we would have got eaten by a lion or starved to death or not found water or not created shelter or not built a fire. All the things we've done over human history, that took mental toughness, as well as physical toughness, but mental toughness was always there. So just thinking that we've lost it in the last couple generations and it's made us all lazy is kind of crazy. It's there somewhere. You just got to find it. And mental toughness, he said, is about values, attitudes, behaviors, and actions. And really, it comes down to being willing to do hard things that are the right thing, no matter what. Doing hard things that are the right thing, no matter what. Think about that. All right. Great conversation with Phil Kornachuk. You guys should go check it out. It's the last episode that came out on Monday. Well, folks, we're about 15 weeks from hunting season out west. And if you're like me, you've been applying for tags, seeing what tags you drew, looking through your gear, filling holes, fixing things that didn't work. If you're doing that, you need to check out gohunt.com. It's where I do almost all of my research on tag odds or units or trophy potential or maps. But it's also a great place to get your gear. They have all the best brands that you will use when you're on a Western hunt. And so if you're looking for a new sleeping bag, a tent, apparel, whatever, go to gohunt.com. And when you check out, use my code altitude and you'll get 20% off. All right, I'm going to do something new today. I have a new song that just came out this week that's called SAGEBRUSH. and I wanted to do a live performance on the show, just acoustic performance on the show, and tell you a little bit about the song. I wrote this song by myself, I don't know, several years ago, kind of just stowed it away. It was one of those songs I grew up in rural Oregon, and I spent a lot of time in the Southeast Desert. For those who have been there, Alvord Desert, Heart Mountains, Steens, kind of that area. If you haven't been there, Southeast Oregon is beautiful and highly unknown by most people, but it's high desert. And it's just sagebrush, junipers, mountains, sheep, elk, mule deer, coyotes, jackrabbits. It's very small towns, nice people that wave at you when they go by. Anyways, the song sort of is set there, but it's from the perspective of just a rural guy that never leaves his hometown, but had someone that he was in love with that he took to this special place with him, and they fell even more in love. And then she left, and did all the glamorous things, went to the city, like left for the city to do all the things. And I don't think she ever came back. But he likes to think that if she ever did come back and she was at this place that he's singing about in the song, that she may remember that moments they had there. And this is about nothing specific necessarily in my life, but it's not about my life, if that makes sense. Songwriters have the liberty of writing literal songs and story. I mean, it's just like writing a book or any other story. You can write fictional things, and this specific story is fictional. But I had experiences very similar to this, and I know a lot of people that had experiences exactly like this. Just growing up as a rural kid, a lot of the girls you dated, they had dreams of leaving town and going out and seeing the world. And at the time, I really didn't. It took a little bit longer for me to see that was actually a good thing to do, like leave your hometown. But I was that was kind of the story. So, anyways, wrote it, went down to Nashville, recorded it with the Swan Brothers, who always helped me produce songs. I recorded it at the Sound Emporium, which is a really famous studio in Nashville, and I had some of the best studio musicians in Nashville play on it. Incredible experience. Anyways, I'm gonna switch mics, pull out my guitar, and play this for you guys real quick. All right, I had to switch up mics. It's the first live performance ever on the Altitude Show. So, of mine. I guess Craig Campbell performed one time, but switched up mics. I'm going to play my song Sagebrush. I hope you guys like it. Here we go. Moonlight like my high beams, desert air hot as sauna steam. Your hands surfing through that July breeze. Even though it was a long time ago, my mind still goes there on this road. You and me singing to the radio, yeah. And the sagebrush, a line of dust, the night sky like fireflies, we were falling in love. In my F-150, you leaning in to kiss me. Just like that, your memory comes up when I'm in the middle of this sagebrush. I wonder how the big city's treating you. I hope your glamorous dreams came true. Maybe someday you'll come back through. And when you hit this county road, it turns something in your soul. And the next thing that you know, like a movie, you'll roll through sagebrush, a line of dust, a night sky like fireflies, we were falling in love. In my F-150, you leaning in to kiss me. Just like that, your memory comes up when I'm in the middle of this sagebrush. Yeah, you'd be here too if I wasn't such a fool. I'd be holding you
Cutting right through this sagebrush, a line of dust, a night sky like fireflies, and we still be in love. In my F-150, you leaning in to kiss me, just like that your memory comes up when I'm in the middle of this sagebrush. This sagebrush.
Well, folks, since you're listening to this podcast, you probably heard me talk about outdoorclass.com before. Outdoor Class is a great place to up your game if you're coming out west to go hunting, period. You're going to learn from the best people that there are, including Remy Warren, Randy Newberg, Corey Jacobson, and many, many more. If you want to get better at your craft, you have to learn. And if you want to learn, you got to go to the best spot. Outdoorclass.com is the spot to learn. Last week I had Randy Newberg on, and we talked about pronghorn hunting and how pronghorn hunting is one of the most economical hunts you can come out west to do. So guess what? He has a class on Outdoor Class that is about pronghorn hunting. You should go check it out. Use my code altitude at checkout for 20% off your subscription. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just acoustic performance, not perfect, but who doesn't like acoustic guitar and some singing? Just the only thing missing was a campfire, right? Maybe some sagebrush. Ha ha ha. All right. So that's it for this week. Next week on Monday, my show with Blood Origins founder Robbie Kroger comes out. It's a fascinating conversation that you'll have to check out. I'm also going to put out a bonus episode next week of a podcast that Gritty Brian Call and I recorded in Montana here about a month or two ago, sitting on a couch in the middle of the night. We were all there doing some business, and we just pulled out the podcast gear and we talked about some crazy shit for 2 hours. I don't even remember what we said. I'm kind of nervous to listen to it, but I hope you guys do, because I'll put it out. He's going to put it out on his stuff, on his platforms. I'm going to put it out on mine. Go subscribe to our YouTube, The Altitude Show. Go support our partners first and foremost, Mountain Tough Fitness. Like I said, get rid of that dad bod. GoHunt.com to do all your planning, research, and buy all your gear needs for hunting season. Use my code altitude. Outdoor Class, if you want to learn how to be a better hunter, go to Outdoor Class, subscribe, use my code altitude to get 20% off, and literally learn from Remy Warren, Randy Newberg, Corey Jacobson, and many other people that are the best at what they do. I hope you guys all enjoyed the show. Have a great weekend, and remember, plan that funeral.